Hello and welcome to another installment of Liberty Nation's Swamponomics videocast. I'm Andrew Moran, Ellen's economics correspondent. Each week, I dive into the more subtopic economic news stories and fish out compelling narratives or imagery fallacies that have been accepted as conventional wisdom by the swamp creatures for years. This week, President Joe Biden's energy crisis. After Russia invaded the Ukraine, oil prices topped over $100 a barrel. They quickly retreated, but the consensus on Wall Street is that crude will inevitably climb way above $100, with some estimates calling for $150 a barrel. The president has refrained from targeting Russia's energy exports out of concern of intensifying the global energy crisis. Of course, this would be the way to bring Moscow to its knees, and then the US could make it up for it by encouraging domestic oil and gas producers to drill, baby drill. Instead, the president has kept up with his 2020 campaign promise of ending the oil and gas industry. The Biden administration paused new releases and permits for federal oil and gas drilling. Following a federal court ruling from U.S. District Judge James Kane in Louisiana that prevented the federal government employing a, quote, societal cost of carbon emissions, the White House froze new oil and gas drilling leases. The decision took place right before Moscow moved into Ukraine, and government attorneys immediately submitted appeals. Instead of encouraging the production of more oil and gas, President Biden and his team are doing everything they can to ensure US companies are not creating greater output. It is these fears that have prevented companies from accelerating production efforts, with prices at their highest levels in 8 years. Biden has begged OPEC and its allies OPEC Plus to turn the taps and flood the global market with oil. So far, the cartel has not taken the bite and will increase output at a more modest approach. He has blamed mom-and-pop gasoline stations for sky-high gasoline prices. The Department of Energy confirmed that it released 25 million barrels of oil, and officials are considering tapping the strategic petroleum reserves once again. The administration is also negotiating with Iran to establish a new nuclear trade agreement that would inevitably lead to an increase in oil supply, with some projections showing Tehran would inject as much as 80 million barrels of oil into the international energy landscape. Put simply, Biden is doing everything he can to ensure that everyone else produces oil and take advantage of $100 rather than get American businesses to fill the gap and enjoy enormous revenues and a boon to the economy. Not only would America benefit, the US could also stop the war in the Ukraine by ramping up crude production. Washington might even encourage other markets to do the same. More countries flood the market with oil, price come down, the world stops buying from Russia, and Vladimir Putin would come under a lot of economic pressure. Either way, oil prices are surging, and the latest uptick will have a consequence on their broader inflation rates at home. The best way to champion Bidenomics, it seems, is to play checkers while everyone else plays 4D chess. That's it for me this week. Please read my full Swamponomics column where I discuss the US stock market post-Ukraine invasion, student loan delinquencies, and Chinese banks and Russia. Thank you.
We're doing it for real, really real. Liberty Nation.
And Jeff Charles, contributor for LibertyNation.com.
I think we're starting to make an impact. Liberty style, fight for freedom.
Maybe tracking polls sponsored by Liberty Nation for Thursday.
Mentioned by Dan Bongino, Rasmussen, Jordan Peterson, and
I
others.
can do it again if you want me to.
Cited in Mark Levin's American Marxism.
I think we're starting to make a really big impact. Get noticed. We're doing it. Rock on. I'm gone.